The year is 1704. The place? The unforgiving vastness of the South Pacific. A lone sailor stands on the deck of a ship. His name is Alexander Selkirk. He is about to face a fate stranger than fiction. This is not just a tale of survival. It's a story that ignited imaginations. It birthed a literary icon. Selkirk's story is the foundation for Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. But while Crusoe is a product of imagination, Selkirk's ordeal was brutally real. He lived the nightmare, stranded, alone. Join us as we delve into the extraordinary life of Alexander Selkirk. Born in Scotland in 1676, Selkirk was a wild spirit. The sea called to him. He joined the privateers. They lived on the edge of the law. Sailing aboard the Cinque Ports, they plundered Spanish gold. A fierce argument with his captain changed Selkirk's life. He was marooned on a desolate island, with only the clothes on his back and meager supplies. Selkirk's heart pounded as he watched the Cinque Ports disappear over the horizon. Despair threatened to engulf him. He was alone, truly alone. The island was a paradise in a way, lush vegetation, sparkling waters, but it was also a prison, a beautiful, unforgiving prison. Could he survive? Would he ever see another human face? Little did he know his ordeal would become legend. His story, a blueprint for adventure. His name etched in the annals of survival against all odds. Alexander Selkirk. The name itself speaks of resilience. He was born in the small Scottish village of Lower Largo in 1676. The sea was in his blood. Even as a boy, Selkirk possessed a wild, untamable spirit. He was headstrong, impulsive, often clashing with his strict father, a tanner by trade. The salty air of the harbor called to him. School held little appeal for young Alexander. His mind yearned for the open sea, not the confines of a classroom. He dreamt of far-off lands, of treasures untold. It was inevitable that Selkirk would find his way to the sea. By his late teens, he was aboard a ship. He learned the ways of the waves. He battled storms with a ferocity that mirrored his own nature. Life at sea was harsh, unforgiving, but it suited Selkirk. He thrived on the danger, the camaraderie, the thrill of the unknown. He quickly rose through the ranks. His skills as a navigator and his courage earned him respect, but his fiery temper remained, simmering beneath the surface. The allure of gold and glory drew Selkirk to the world of privateering. In the late 17th century, England and Spain were locked in a bitter struggle for control of the seas. Privateers, essentially legal pirates, were granted permission to attack and plunder enemy ships. Selkirk signed on with William Dampier, a seasoned privateer captain, for an expedition to the Pacific Ocean. Their target Spanish treasure ships laden with gold and silver from the Americas. On this voyage, Selkirk got his first taste of true danger. The expedition was fraught with hardship. Disease swept through the ship, supplies dwindled. The men grew weary and mutinous, yet Selkirk persevered. He proved himself to be a capable and resourceful sailor, earning the grudging respect of his shipmates. During a fierce battle with a Spanish galleon, a cannonball ripped through the deck, narrowly missing him. The air filled with the screams of the wounded. This experience, though terrifying, forged Selkirk into a survivor. It instilled in him a deep-seated understanding of the fragility of life. Little did he know, a far greater test awaited him. The tension on the Cinque Ports was palpable. Selkirk and Captain Stradling clashed constantly. During a stop for repairs on Masa Tierra, their feud reached its boiling point. Selkirk, in a fit of frustration, declared he'd rather be left on the island than continue under Stradling's command. Stradling, with cold fury, agreed to Selkirk's demand. The ship's boat carried Selkirk and his meager possessions to the shore. As the Cinque Ports set sail, leaving him stranded, a chilling realization gripped Selkirk. He was alone. The first days were the hardest. Fear, sharp and relentless, gnawed at Selkirk's resolve. The island, once a welcome respite, now felt like a cage. He built a crude shelter from branches and leaves, seeking refuge from the elements. Hunger gnawed at his belly. He scavenged for shellfish on the beach. The silence, broken only by the crashing waves and the cries of seabirds, was deafening. Sleep offered little respite. Nightmares plagued him. Despair threatened to consume him. Was this to be his end? As days turned into weeks, a change came over Selkirk. Despair gave way to a steely determination. He would survive. He would not let this island break him. He began to explore his surroundings, searching for food, water, and materials to improve his shelter. He discovered wild goats, descendants of those left by previous explorers. He honed his hunting skills, learning to stalk his prey with patience and cunning. Slowly, he began to adapt to his environment. His Bible, once a source of despair, became a source of solace. He found comfort in the words, drawing strength from the stories of faith and perseverance. Selkirk's ingenuity flourished. He built a more robust shelter, using salvaged wood and stones. He crafted furniture from driftwood, fashioning a semblance of comfort in his island prison. He learned to distinguish edible plants from poisonous ones. He even domesticated feral cats to combat the rats that plagued his stores. He marked the passage of time, carving notches into a tree trunk. With each passing day, his fear lessened, replaced by a growing sense of mastery over his environment. The island had tested him, pushing him to the brink, but it had also forged him into something stronger, more resilient. Hunger gnawed at Selkirk's stomach. He knew he had to master his environment. His survival depended on it. The island offered a bounty, but he needed to learn its secrets. He studied the habits of the wild goats. These creatures, descendants of earlier shipwrecks, roamed freely. He chased them, he stalked them, he learned to anticipate their movements. His musket became an extension of himself. Every shot counted. The sea, his former tormentor, now offered sustenance. He learned to fish with sharpened sticks and lines woven from plant fibers. Selkirk's clothes, worn thin from the harsh island conditions, began to disintegrate. He needed protection from the elements. Using his knife and salvaged nails, he transformed animal skins into crude garments. They were rough but offered warmth and protection. He wasn't just surviving, he was adapting. He became one with the island. He learned which plants offered nourishment. He built traps to catch rats, a source of protein. Every bit counted. He was mastering his environment. One day, a shape emerged from the horizon. A ship. Hope surged through Selkirk. He raced to the highest point on the island. He built a bonfire, the flames a desperate signal. But as the vessel drew closer, his heart sank. It was a Spanish ship. England and Spain were at war. Capture meant imprisonment or worse, death. He retreated into the island's interior. He hid in caves, his pulse pounding in his ears. He evaded the Spanish search parties. It was a stark reminder of his isolation. Life on the island wasn't without its perils. Earthquakes shook the ground, sending him scrambling for safety. He survived falls, cuts, and burns. Each scar told a story, each injury a testament to his will to live. He befriended the island's creatures. He tamed feral cats, descendants of shipwrecked felines. They became his companions, a comfort in his solitude. Through it all, he clung to hope. He knew deep down that one day he would escape his island prison. Years blurred into an endless cycle of survival. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. Selkirk had long lost count of the time. He had tamed the island, but it still held him captive. But one day, everything changed. Smoke on the horizon. Selkirk's heart leaped. Could it be? Was it another false hope? Was it the Spanish again? He scrambled up a rocky crag, his eyes straining. A sail. This time it was real. A ship was approaching the island. He built a bonfire, feeding it dry wood and leaves. The flames leaped skyward, a beacon against the azure sky. This time he dared to hope. The ship, a British privateer called the Duke, spotted Selkirk's signal. They cautiously approached the island, wary of a possible trap. The sight that greeted them was like something out of a mariner's tale. A wild man, clad in goatskins, stood on the beach. His beard flowed down to his chest. His skin, tanned and weathered, spoke of years under the sun. He was a castaway, reborn from the crucible of solitude. His name, he rasped, was Alexander Selkirk. He clambered aboard the Duke, his legs shaky after years without human contact. His rescue was a miracle, but the journey back to civilization was long, fraught with danger. News of Selkirk's rescue spread like wildfire through the ports and taverns of England. Sailors spun tales of the wild man who had survived alone on a deserted island for years. He became a legend, a symbol of human resilience. His story reached the ears of Daniel Defoe, a writer always on the lookout for a captivating tale. Defoe saw in Selkirk's ordeal the kernel of a powerful story. A story of survival, of solitude, of the indomitable spirit of man. Defoe met with Selkirk, listening intently as the former castaway recounted his experiences. He saw the potential for a novel that would resonate with readers hungry for adventure and inspiration. Daniel Defoe, captivated by Selkirk's tale, saw a parable of human endurance. He transformed Selkirk's experiences into a novel, Robinson Crusoe, published in 1719. Crusoe's ordeal mirrored Selkirk's in many ways. Readers were enthralled by Crusoe's adventures, his resilience, his ingenuity. The novel became a cornerstone of English literature. Selkirk was no longer just a sailor. He was the inspiration for a literary icon. While Defoe drew from Selkirk's experiences, Robinson Crusoe was not strictly factual. Defoe took creative liberties, weaving an imagination. Crusoe's island was based on a Caribbean island, not the Juan Fernández archipelago. Crusoe's encounter with Friday has no direct parallel in Selkirk's story. The themes of survival, resilience, and solitude resonate in both stories. This enduring appeal has captivated readers for centuries, making Robinson Crusoe a timeless classic. Alexander Selkirk's name might have faded into obscurity, another footnote in maritime history, had it not been for Daniel Defoe's novel. Robinson Crusoe ensured Selkirk's story would be forever intertwined with his fictional counterpart. His birthplace of Lower Largo, Scotland, pays homage to its famous son. A statue of Selkirk stands proudly in the village. The Selkirk Hotel welcomes visitors eager to learn about the real Robinson Crusoe. His legacy extends far beyond his hometown, inspiring writers, filmmakers, and artists. His name has become synonymous with survival and the triumph of the human spirit over adversity. Alexander Selkirk, a name whispered on the wind, a name etched in the annals of survival. His story, a stark reminder of the tenacity of the human spirit. Marooned, alone, he stared into the abyss of solitude. He didn't blink. He transformed from castaway to conqueror. He tamed a wild island, bending it to his will. He hunted, he built, he survived. He embodied the primal instinct to live, to persevere against insurmountable odds. His story, a beacon of hope, proof that even in darkness a spark of resilience can ignite. He reminds us that within each of us lies a wellspring of strength. We only need to find it. Selkirk's ordeal, a distant echo in our modern world. Yet his story still resonates. We see it in the climber. We feel it in the entrepreneur. We hear it in the survivor's tale. Selkirk's story, a beacon in dark moments. You are stronger than you think. What can we learn from a man stranded in solitude? Selkirk's story offers timeless wisdom. It teaches resourcefulness, adapting to our environment, finding strength in unexpected places, the power of self-reliance, depending on our own wits, facing our fears. Greatest challenges lead to growth. It's about the triumph of the human spirit, finding meaning in adversity. Hope endures in dark times. If you enjoyed this journey, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below.